Okay, guys, UFC 304 predictions are finally here. I'm going to go over the full card, and we're going to start with Modestas Bukauskas versus Marcin Prachnio. So, the only thing I'm sure of in this fight is that it's going to decision. They both fight similarly. Marcin just moves a little funnier. Like, he's not as slick, but they both seem to have similar cardio. And I can't tell if Marcin gasses when he goes into the third round or if he just looks retarded on the feet. Because the thing is, his technique is still effective. It's just really hard to tell because, I mean, he lands his shots, but he just looks like he's gassed. And I can't tell if he is gassed and he's just like pushing through. Anyhow, I'm going to go at the end of the day with, I think, Modestas Bukauskas because I think his technique is actually slightly better. But here's the thing, though. I also feel like this is just going to come down to who can land more leg kicks because both these dudes love landing leg kicks. Like, they just love throwing leg kicks, I mean. So, yeah, we'll see. But I'm going to go with Modestas Bukauskas. I think he has a slightly better, more reliable technique. So, yeah, I'm going to go with him. Next up, we got Shauna Bannon and Alice Ardelean. I'm going to go with Shauna Bannon via better prep, by decision. She has more preparation for this fight. Alice took this by extremely short notice. So Shauna was supposed to originally fight Ravina Oliveira, but now she's fighting Alice. And Alice hasn't fought in the UFC before. This will be her debut. She took the fight on short notice. We've seen, unfortunately, what happens to people who take fights on short notice. This happened recently to Fatima Klein when she fought Jasmine Jasudavicius. From the limited clips of Alice's fighting that I've seen out there, she seems pretty explosive. She seems like she has like a lot of energy and a lot of output. Both of these girls have equally sloppy striking, so honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Alice won. If she wins, like, if she walks in wanting it more, because it kind of seems like Shauna doesn't care, and I'm not sure if this is because she really doesn't care, because her family apparently owns an MMA fighting gym, so maybe they're just encouraging her to fight, and she doesn't really want to do it. Maybe she doesn't know what else to do with her life. But yeah, I'm going to go with Shauna Bannon. She had more preparation for this. Also, we don't know anything about Alice Ardelean, so Shauna Bannon by decision. Next fight up the card is Sam Patterson and Kiefer Crosbie. I'm gonna go for Sam Patterson for the win. Sam unfortunately got chinned in his UFC debut against Yanal Ashmouz. Yeah, that was his name. Yanal Ashmouz, which is slightly concerning, but to be honest, from what I've seen, usually dudes will learn from this in their next fights, and they won't make that mistake of being so careless. So I think he'll be a little more careful. He's also got a pretty solid height and reach advantage, and we've seen Kiefer Crosbie struggle against these rangier guys. Saw this in his fight against Kevin Jusay, where he just got pieced up. Also, this will be a home fight for Sam Patterson, so I don't really see an advantage for Kiefer Crosbie in any department here, really. So I'm gonna go for Sam Patterson for the win. Next up, we have Christian Leroy Duncan versus Gregory Rodrigues. Gregory Rodrigues, my favorite substitute teacher. I have underestimated Gregory Rodrigues once before, and he got a solid win over Brad Tavares. So Duncan didn't do shit when he had a standing target in front of him, Claudio Ribeiro. So I'm worried when angry substitute Ninja Turtle Gregory Rodrigues is going to be in front of him, because we know Gregory Rodrigues has solid output. He's a good striker. He's got a solid technique. You know, he's not going to be a standing target. And I just don't know how Duncan is going to handle this at all, considering his performance against Claudio Ribeiro. They also both fought Denis Tululin. Christian Leroy Duncan finished him at the end of round 2. And Gregory Rodrigues finished him in the beginning of round 1. So do with that information what you will. But I think Gregory Rodrigues has the chance to get a KO here. And yeah, he's going to be the one who I'm picking in this matchup. Next fight up, we got Oban Elliot versus Preston Parsons. You know what? I'm actually going to go for Oban Elliot by decision. And here's the thing. Preston Parsons, this dude that moves like a stiff military man figure, you know, the ones, those Green Army figures. He looks like that in the octagon. But I actually think he's better. I think he's a better fighter overall. He does do some questionable things in his fights. The one I saw with Trevin Giles, and I know that was his debut, but he was shooting some poor takedowns and he wasn't really able to close the distance all that well. And here's the thing. I'm not sure that Oban Elliot is capable of using his own brain. But that's okay, because he listens to his corner when he fights, and he does the things that they tell him to do. And for the most part, they're shouting productive things at him. And I've observed that even if the fighters are worse, if they're listening to their corners, they look like they're doing more, they tend to win, you know? So, we saw this in the fight with Bogdan Guskov versus Ryan Spann, where Bogdan Guskov was looking like not that great, to be honest, up until his corner just like yelled at him so hard that he was able to snap into the moment and, you know, get that KO. So, and even in Oban Elliot's fight with Val Woodburn, like, he won that fight because he looked like he did more. And he looked like he did more because he was listening to what his corner was saying, you know? And here's the thing. Preston Parsons likes to improvise. Like, you could see this in his approach. He likes to try different things, you know? He likes to experiment in the octagon. And usually someone's improvisations won't be as good as someone else's team watching, you know, like observing as a third-party person. So I think that whatever Oban Elliot's team is going to yell at him is going to be better than whatever Preston Parsons is going to be improvising with. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Preston Parsons won, because he is better. But I also wouldn't be surprised if this went to decision, you know, and I think it will. And this goes to Oban Elliot, and then they will give it to him because he's from Wales. I'm not sure how biased the Manchester judges are going to be towards the UK people. But I'm going to gamble with Oban Elliot on this one, guys. That's my final pick. Next up, we got Mick Parkin versus Lukasz Brzeski. So Mick Parkin is going to win via higher fight IQ. I've picked against him twice already. Not this time. Lukasz Brzeski is big dumb, okay? He lost against Martin Budaj. And I know that was a split decision loss, but still, you know? He won against Walter Walker because Walter Walker decided to leave his brain at home that day. And Lukasz's striking is atrocious. He has no ground game. He's going to lose. I will be utterly shocked if he wins. But yeah, I'm going with Mick Parkin, guys, for the win. Maybe he'll get a KO. But Lukasz Brzeski is a tough Polish guy, so I think he'll just win by decision. He's a smarter fighter. You know, he's going to win. Next up, we got Caolan Loughran versus Jake Hadley. So Jake Hadley doesn't use his brain. He doesn't listen to his corner. And that's 2 strikes already. He also took this fight on extremely short notice. And that's the 3rd strike, guys. Caolan Loughran moves well. He's very flexible, not stiff. You know, he's really, like, good at moving back, dodging shots. Like, he seems very slick. For his build especially. You would assume he would be more stiff, but... And he's also way stronger than Jake Hadley, guys. Have you seen them both? Like, Jake Hadley's looking real skinny, to be honest, comparatively. Loughran also lost against Taylor Lapilus, but Taylor Lapilus in that fight had a 5-inch reach advantage against him. He's also, like, a really good striker from what I've seen. Like, in his... We've seen this in his previous fight. He's a very smart fighter, good striker. So, anyways, Loughran lost to him. Jake Hadley doesn't fight smartly. He just doesn't. Like, he improvises. He goes in at the wrong time, leaves himself open, is very chinny. So, I just don't see what Jake Hadley is doing better in this matchup. I don't see where he's got the upper hand. So, I'm going to go with Caolan Loughran on this one. Next up, we got Molly McCann versus Bruna Brasil. I'm going to go with Molly McCann on this one. She's actually looking like she's been improving significantly recently, very quickly since her previous fights. Like every new fight that I've watched her in, she's been looking better. She's great on the feet. She has good output. And I don't think that Bruna Brasil will be able to hunt her down the way that she likes to in all her other fights, because Bruna Brasil is actually quite a bit slower and she waits for these moments to strike, which I just don't think she's going to, like, find. I mean, she will find, but I mean, like, Molly McCann is just going to be dishing out strikes while Bruna Brasil is waiting for moments, you know what I mean? I'm going to say this is probably going to be a decision because this is a women's fight, but Molly McCann might want it bad enough to, you know, try and secure a finish. She's definitely, like, tough and strong enough. Like, she's that type of woman. So we'll see. She might get a finish, but I'm going to go with Molly McCann for the decision win. Next up, we got Nathaniel Wood versus Daniel Pineda. I'm gonna go with Nathaniel Wood. Daniel Pineda just kind of seems like he's on his way out. Like, his loss to Alex Caceres really isn't looking good right now. And as far as I'm concerned, Nathaniel Wood is on a 5-fight win streak, okay? His only loss recently has been against Muhammad Naimov, and that was at UFC 294 in Abu Dhabi, and it was a decision loss, so you already know that the judges favored the Muslim in that matchup. So I don't know how that fight went. I'm gonna say, you know, Nathaniel Wood probably did better than it seems on paper. And Daniel Pineda just doesn't seem like he's committed to his game early on in the fights. In his fight with Tucker Lutz in round 1, it took him a moment to warm up. He was just absorbing damage and getting countered that entire first round. So that's not really a great look. Also, Nathaniel Wood is like 30. He's stepping into the best years of his career right now. He's way more technical in my opinion, and he's from England, so I think he's gonna win this fight. Next up, we got Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. So I'm actually leaning towards Arnold Allen. Giga Chikadze just doesn't seem that strong. I was watching his fight with Vegan Caceres, and like everything that he was throwing was looking like it wasn't doing as much damage as you would be expecting, you know, to see. And that was against Caceres. So I think Arnold is stronger. He's got better ground game. Giga Chikadze unfortunately looks shit when he's backed up against the fence. He starts like panicking, you know, and it's not a good time for him. Giga Chikadze does have a forehand reach advantage, and he does like to shoot straights, so this might be where he prevails. But also, Arnold Allen is like pretty good at protecting his face, more than most, actually. He's not that chinny. And I feel like Arnold Allen can just lean on grappling, if anything. So I think Arnold Allen got more advantages in this fight, so I think he's going to win. Next up, we got Muhammad Mokaev versus Manel Kape. To be honest, this is kind of a difficult one. I personally think this is going to go to decision. Both of these dudes are pretty sharp. They look good in every single round. I just don't think we're going to see much of an interesting fight here because they're both relatively defensive, and I think they're going to respect each other. And here's the thing. If this goes to decision and both dudes have kind of like done the same amount of damage, probably going to give it to Mokaev because he's undefeated, and obviously the UFC is going to want to keep him that way. So I'm just going to say this is going to be probably a split decision, or maybe a unit. Who knows? I'm going to assume split decision, actually. I'm going to say split decision, and it's going to go to Muhammad Mokaev, in my opinion. Next up, we got Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett. I think Paddy Pimblett's going to win, guys. I think Bobby Green's fragile ego is going to get shattered on Saturday. Okay? Nobody who changes their name to King Green is going to win. That's not a winner's move. It's just not, okay? First of all. Bobby Green, his last win was against Grandpa Miller. Okay, you know. I think, in my opinion, Paddy Pimblett is like a younger, better, fresher version of Jim Miller. So if this goes to decision, and that was a decision one. If this goes to decision, they're going to give it to Paddy Pimblett. Also because he's from England, so there you go. Also, Jim Miller almost caught Bobby Green in that fight at least once. And unfortunately, he couldn't follow up because he's ancient. And I can totally see Paddy Pimblett catching him in a similar kind of way, but actually being able to follow up because he's not ancient. The only way I see Bobby Green winning is if he like manages to chin Paddy Pimblett the same way that he chinned Grant Dawson. But Grant Dawson also has no ability on the feet, as we know. So I don't think that that's super likely, you know, and obviously it's not like Paddy Pimblett's going to go there completely disrespecting Bobby Green's ability. We all know Bobby Green's really great on the feet. So I think Paddy Pimblett's going to win. Honestly, maybe by decision. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of decisions on this card for some reason. But anyhow, I'm taking Paddy Pimblett, guys. Next up, the co-main event. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. I gotta say, I'm gonna go with Tom Aspinall here. He's just better in every department. You can't tell me otherwise. He's also got better fight IQ. Like, he seems like he has a plan when he goes in there, you know. Curtis Blades has been acquiring these accidental wins. Jailton Almeida. And again, he's one of these dudes that likes to improvise more than, you know, I think is necessary. And that's not, I don't think that's going to be great against someone like Tom Aspinall, who's going to be calculated the whole time. Also, Tom won against Sergey Pavlovich. Curtis Blades lost. Tom also did better against Alexander Volkov. And to be honest, I think Tom won the fight with Sergey Pavlovich because, I mean, I know it was like a very lucky shot that he got, but he was also fighting fairly smartly in that fight. Whereas, yeah, you know, I can't say the same thing about Curtis Blades. So, you know, I hope Tom's knee has stabilized by this point. It'll be really embarrassing if he loses again. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be a very bad look if he loses again. But so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for him to win. You know, I think he's probably had a lot of preparation for this. I'm sure he's really worked on his knee as well. So anyhow, yeah, I'm gonna go for Tom Aspinall for the win. And next up, the final fight of the night, Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. Guys, I am picking Leon Edwards to win. First of all, he has the advantage because he primarily shoots straight shots. Belal Muhammad mostly likes to throw hooks. This puts him at a disadvantage because he, you know, would need to get closer. Leon Edwards is good at dodging those. But it'll allow Leon Edwards to, you know, close the distance better than Belal Muhammad. And we saw Leon Edwards dodge a lot of what Belal was throwing in their first fight. But we all know that obviously when you're throwing a jab, you're faster than someone who's throwing hooks. You can see a hook coming more than you could see a jab. And guess what, guys? Belal Muhammad is an insecure man. We can see this from the moment that he enters the arena. He refuses to look at the camera. He can't look at the camera. He can't do it. It's like, it's such an insecure move. You can't tell me otherwise. You can see how unsure of himself he is when he throws his takedowns, when he shoots anything. His hair transplant is not helping his case. And Leon Edwards is just way sharper than him. Like, he's faster than him. And you know what? His calculated approach will always trump insecure adrenaline. Always. Contained adrenaline is superior to insecure adrenaline. Every time, in my opinion, you know? So, I'm going with Leon Edwards. I don't think Belal Muhammad is less insecure now than he was then, to be honest. You know, insecurity is a difficult thing to, separate yourself from. Yeah, I'm going to go with Leon Edwards, guys. I'm going to go over my picks and let you guys know who I think will win from most sure to less sure. From most sure to least sure, actually. So I think Mick Parkin will definitely win over Lukasz Brzeski. Caolan Loughran will definitely win over Jake Hadley. Nathaniel Wood will definitely win against Daniel Pineda. And take this definitely with a grain of salt, obviously. Like, nothing is for certain, but these are, in my opinion, you know, the most certain picks on this card. Next up, the ones that I'm relatively sure of, but, you know, not 100% endorsing. Sam Patterson to win over Kiefer Crosbie. Gregory Rodrigues to win over Christian Leroy Duncan. Molly McCann to win over Bruna Brasil. Tom Aspinall to win over Curtis Blades. And Leon Edwards to win versus Belal Muhammad. And then the picks that I'm not endorsing at all and I'm just going to stay away from because they will probably ruin your parlays. Modestas Bukauskas and Marcin Prachnio. Shauna Bannon and Alice Ardelean. Oban Elliot versus Preston Parsons. Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. And Muhammad Makayev versus Manel Kape. Those are the fights that I'm just not going to be messing around with, to be honest. And yeah, those are all my thoughts for this week's predictions. And now I'm going to end off this video the way we normally do it here on this channel with the singing bowl. My mic is down here, so I'm going to played around here. But thank you guys for watching the video. I'm really excited for this card. It'll be very strange if it'll be less exciting than last week's card. For those of you who didn't watch last week's card, it was actually not that bad. But yeah, let's hope we get as many picks right on this card as possible. You know, let's just hope for the best. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys probably on the weigh-ins. Probably do a live on Friday. But if not, because I've been traveling on all over the place, I'll see you guys on Saturday for the watch party live. And yeah.